Have you seen the story today in the New York Times?
Evidently, the CIA destroyed tapes of interrogations of Al-Qaeda detainees.
I want to find out what was on the tapes, why they were destroyed.
You guys are playing actual people, and in your case, Jon may be a person that made some choices that he believed in, but maybe weren't the choices I would make or you would make. How do you guys deal with that?
Well, I think that's, I've certainly played a lot of people that make choices that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but that's the fun of what we do, is the sort of vicarious life. When you're playing a real person, it's your kind of challenge to understand what that real person was going through. And in my case, with Dennis McDonough, he is stuck right in between these two warring factions of the previous administration and then his own boss, and having to clean up this mess and get all of these people on both sides of the aisle to come to some agreement. That's challenging. It was challenging then. It's seemingly impossible now because both sides are even further apart. So it's fun, and it's a lot better when you have an incredible screenwriter writing your lines and your arguments for you. So that's why, part of why I did the film. I thought it was an interesting guy to play, the guy stuck in the middle.
They waterboarded him 183 times. Everything they got from him was either a lie or something they already had.
If it works, why do you need to do it 183 times?
Maybe when the report comes out, people will finally see that.
And you have played Diane Feinstein. Have you ever met her?
I have.
You nailed it. I'll say that wig. I mean, the wig was pretty good too.
Thank you.
So props to the wig artist or whoever, whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've met her. How do you deal with playing someone that you've met?
I feel like part of this story is not only Senator Feinstein's views, which are clear, and she's a person who plays by the rules, and she took no joy in having to ferret out this secret torture program and being head of this committee in finding out what members of her own government had done. But she is, in terms of her personality and her character, she's a measured person. And that's really part of the story, is she was only one of the facts. And when Dan Jones went into that room and was there for, as he reminded us, 7 years, trying to read through all the material that the CIA had given him, all the emails and memos, he couldn't interview one person. He got increasingly upset, for want of a better word, involved, obsessed with what he was seeing that nobody else was seeing. And so he would come to Senator Feinstein and basically say, his hair getting increasingly on fire, and she would say, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the facts. And I think it speaks well of her. And even in the end, when the report came out, when she made a very eloquent speech on the floor of the Senate, she said, I take no joy in this. But this is what happened. The law was broken. But the important thing is, what we do in our system is we have the ability to actually admit a mistake. So here we are admitting in front of the world, yes, we tortured people, and it's illegal and wrong. And then she and McCain passed an amendment reaffirming the fact that we're not going to do it again. So that meant a lot to me. And within the margins of her personality, that's what she was able to do.
Would either of you run for office?
Sure. I mean,
I can see you running for office.
Yeah, but I never win, but I mean, sure. Why not?
I
City
would
council,
vote
maybe,
for you, Jon.
Well, yeah, I mean, my best friend's mom ran for city council person or whatever. And this is in St. Louis, Missouri. So it's meaningless, essentially. Not meaningless. Local government is very important. Stay in school. But this was around 1994 when the big Newt Gingrich revolution happened and talk radio was everything. And she got targeted with, back in the old days, mailings and all this stuff of this lady wants to take away your guns and this lady wants to do this and that and the other because she's a, lefty McGee. I think we're in such a bad place with that stuff now that scares good people away from running and makes manipulative people want to run. And I think we're in a real pickle with that.
I vehemently disagree with the narrative here. United States does not torture.